What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Blunderbuss79, and today we are going over the patch notes. It released a little earlier. It's a lot to get into, so we'll go ahead and get into it. Greetings, agents. This is CM Fragment of Marvel Future Fight, experts in magic and supernatural beings that come together to fight against dangerous evil. Still trying to figure out who this dangerous evil is. That's why I'm leaning toward the mid-month being a villain or villains. The theme of this October update is Midnight Suns. Doctor Strange, who has come through death and time, has gained new powers and advanced to tier 4. Sister Grimm gets a tier 3. Dr. Voodoo and Man-Thing are going to be sharing an awakened skill. So that's absolutely dope right there. And then we got various improvements, such as an addition of the new growth content, team up and reward improvement for various game modes.
Money! Mucho dinero!
Have been made to support this team, which deals with difficult problems, so don't miss the changes. So before we get into the heroes, we'll go ahead and scroll down and get into that. So this is what they were talking about with the team up collection. New heroes have joined teams to accomplish special goals, complete collection, and acquire various options that will help you in battle. You got the Midnight Suns, Sinister Six, and X-Force collection.
A man that studieth revenge keeps his own wounds green. Francis Bacon.
Thing, Dr. Voodoo, and Wong in the Midnight Suns. You got the Sinister Six in the Sinister Six with a couple of additional characters, Venom, and they've had different iterations of the Sinister Six, but all of the main characters look like they're pretty much there. You also have the X-Force, that's Cable, Warpath, Domino, Wolverine, X-23, Storm, Angel, Deadpool, Nightcrawler, and Bishop. And they need to do more of this. It looks like it's set up in a way where they can make additions to this, so I'd like to see more teams added to this. You got X-Force, we could bring an X-Men team. There are plenty of mutants in the game for that. You know, we could do one for the Avengers, of course. The list goes on and on. Yeah, love to see that. Maybe a West Coast Avengers list would also be nice, but then you'd have to look and see which characters you're putting where. We got 256, 257 characters to choose from. That shouldn't be a problem. So complete designated challenges to acquire rewards and set team up option. Challenges will be unlocked in order from steps 1 through 10, clearing the previous step, acquiring collection tokens for each theme by clearing the challenges. Upgrade status of the trial uniforms acquired through guided quests will not be applied to the team up challenge. So this is going to be aside from the guided quests. Those challenges won't apply, so I'm thinking they're saying that you can't run them simultaneously. You also have only one team up option can be applied each of the 10 steps. Team up options will be gold, so it's going to be a gold cost to this. Team up options will only apply target themed heroes. Team up options will be applied all game mode. Crystals will be spent when changing the applied option from one option to another. So switching options is going to be a costly endeavor as far as your crystals are concerned. And then if you look at these options, you have increased damage, increased basic damage dealt to superhero faction, increased basic damage dealt to super villain faction, increased damage dealt to boss types. So all of that's really good for PvP. You also have some decreased damage dealt. You also have some additional pierce. You also have some all attack in there as well. So it's some really useful, powerful stuff in here. Collection tokens for each theme are used to upgrade the collection option level. Collection options will only apply to heroes of the target theme. Collection options will be applied to all game modes. Upgrade success will differ based on the collection level option. The same hero is under multiple team up collection options. Only the theme option, highest collection level, will be applied. Okay, so here you go. You got the increase all attack here, and this thing goes up to 10%. Oh no, it's all attack. This thing goes up to 40%. Wow. So that's actually a pretty decent bonus. It's a level 18. So it goes up quite a few levels. I imagine the Pierce will probably be something similar. Maybe not 40%, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 or 10%. That's still huge in terms of Pierce. Additional collection tokens for each theme can be acquired through crystal or purchase. So they're going to be selling this stuff. So I was really hoping that they wouldn't be doing this, but they are. And that absolutely sucks that they're making this thing a kind of pay to win sort of thing. Only the option of the current level, not the sum, will be applied. Collection options will only apply to the hero of the target theme. Collection options will be applied to all game modes. Okay, so they're just reiterating the same stuff. And then we got some game reward improvements. So looks like they're adding some tier 3 mats and artifact chests. The first clear reward, ultimate difficulty for story mode. So that's actually pretty cool. See, they are changing some of the rewards in Otherworld Battle. So we're getting Radiant Rune. So they're basically just flipping these two. And you get the Radiant Rune selector later. And you get the Radiant Rune chest. That's pretty much it. All the rest of the rewards are remaining the same. You got some, the Alliance Tournament rank rewards have been improved. This will apply to the Alliance Tournament round. It first begins after the October update. One item will be acquired from the Alliance Tournament chest based on the probabilities. You're getting 10 million gold. Alliance Tournament chest mythic ×2 for first place. You're getting 7 million gold. And Alliance chest tournament legendary and a mythic. And then at third place, you're getting 5 million gold. Heroic and a legendary. Fourth place, you're getting 3 million gold and 2 heroic chests. And ninth or 4th to 8th, and then 9th to 16th, you're getting 2 million gold and 1 heroic chest. The reward improvement is actually pretty good. It depends on what's in the chest, so let's see what's available. You do get some Soul of the Faltine in there. That's actually dope. You also get some Cosmic Cube fragments. It would be nice if they added something like Carbonadium in here, to be honest. They could take all the rest of this crap and just put Carbo there. They could take the Enchanted Uru, the ISO, the Obelisk, and the Comet card and just give you Carbo. Let's go ahead and get into it with the new character Man-Thing and the new uniforms for the rest of the Midnight Suns. We got my guy. You can craft him right here. I absolutely love that. Completely free character. You can get him from the premium hero chest as well. You can also get this guy through the store and through biometric selectors. So completely free. Absolutely litty. He's gonna have the strong, healing, and magic tags. Comes to the game as a combat superhero male human. As far as his abilities go, he's going to get the decreased debuff duration by 30% for the leadership, as well as a 30% HP buff. He also gets super armor, increased all basic defense by 30%, skill damage bonus damage 50-40 buff. He also gets decreased basic damage received by 30%, and he gets the Wolverine heal 5% for 1 second when below 99% HP. So very PvP oriented right there. He also has some snare, some stun, some incapacitation, a new skill, Panic, which I believe induces fear. We're not sure if none of this stuff like ignores immunity, right? That's gonna be the main thing. It doesn't say it here, so I'm assuming that it doesn't. If that's the case, then I really don't see how much use this is gonna be, right? It does increase basic damage received by 30%. Is that going to be only if the skill applies? Is it going to be like how they did with Poison for Dr. Voodoo when he first released, right? That's the big question mark. Also, the other thing that I noticed that's missing in his kit is iframe ignore. If they're going to make this guy a PvP character, they're really going to have to give him some iframe ignore. Nowhere in there. He does get 30% chance to penetrate. For 5 seconds, 5 seconds of invincibility. More panic, increases basic damage received by 30%. He's got the frenzy buff of 60%. So that's huge. That frenzy buff also packs a 30% crit rate with it. And he gets damage accumulation in his kit of 1%, which is kind of average these days. He also gets burn and bleed in his kit, so maybe some AC. And then this chance of missing stuff. We haven't seen this on a character in a minute. You know, Dazzler has that skill. So we'll go ahead and move along. Like I said, no iframe ignore, no additional PvP buffs. I mean, he's got a lot in his kit for that. The decrease debuff duration, the HP, increase basic defenses, the heal. It's passive. He doesn't have any additional heal that I see. He also has the native penetration. So without iframe ignore, I don't see how he's going to make much use of this panic, especially if this thing doesn't ignore immunity, right? We'll go ahead and move on to Doctor Strange. The uniform effect that he's going to be getting on there is going to be crit damage, 35% increase guaranteed critical rate, 25%, and skill damage bonus damage 40-35. They're also increasing his leadership. I believe it was 30% before, so they're giving him additional 15% attack to bring it up to 45%. That's actually pretty dope. And then he also has a 75% chance when attacking for the time freeze still, with 75% activation, 55% increase of energy attack. So that's a whopping 100% energy attack increase right there. And this thing is going to be up for 8 seconds on a 12-second cooldown. So he's only going to be missing 4 seconds when this thing actually drops off by like 55%. So it's going to be up most of the time. It should be up for just about every rotation. He also gets the increased chain hit by 25% with a 100% chance to penetrate barrier, shield, all damage, immunity. But it doesn't penetrate everything. And he's got the 2 seconds of stun on there, 3 seconds of snare, some remove all buffs from target, some paralysis that ignores immunity. He does have 50% reflect on this second skill. So keep an eye out for that. This dude might actually do some work in PvP as well. He also has some paralysis, 100% chance to grant all damage immunity, 1.5% damage accumulation. That's huge. He also gets a V-pad skill, 25% HP recovery, another 4 seconds of invincibility. So he's got some ways to protect himself there. And just in case you guys forgot, Doctor Strange Artifact gives a 10% chance when time freezing effect is used to apply iframe ignore for 5 seconds. So this thing is actually really, really strong. And considering that it's on there and he's getting a tier 4, and they added the reflect on the second skill, and this thing has a 12-second cooldown and it's up for 5 seconds, so he's going to be reflecting like all the time. That could be really, really, really strong. And he has a couple of ways to protect himself with the invincibility and the all damage immunity. No, those are easily penetrated in this day and age, but they still help from time to time. With a 25% heal, along with what we're going to see with Sister Grimm's kit, might actually be something meaningful. We'll just have to wait and see. This guy also gets another 60% attack buff on his 4th skill, and then he gets another 60% attack buff on his 6th skill. That's another 120% attack on top of the 100 that he already had coming from his leadership and his passive. That's 220% max, along with damage accumulation. This guy's going to be hitting like a truck. Absolutely nutty. And the way that his iframe ignore is set up, it's set up in such a way where it's constant for 5 seconds straight. So it doesn't matter what skill he's casting, once it pops. It's similar to Shang-Chi. You remember the way that his iframe ignore on his tier 3 worked? It gave iframe ignore to all of his skills. So Doctor Strange is set up similar in that capacity. So we may see something with him, maybe with the CTP of Conquest or something like that. Could be interesting. Moving right along to Sister Grimm. Her uniform is going to be 1050. We got the increased chain hit by 15%. And then she has applies to all allies, activation rate 30%, greater energy shield. That's pretty much nothing. Not really going to be useful. Original skill energy drain to Cunning Instinct, her tier 2 passive. It's going to increase her skill damage and her bonus damage by 45 and 45 respectively. Decrease basic damage received by 35%. Then she's changing blood magic on her 4-star passive to Healing Sound. The activation rate when debuffed recovers 10% per second. This is probably going to be like a refreshing thing, and it's going to remove all debuffs for 15 seconds on a 20-second cooldown for all allies with the magic tag. That's going to be Doctor Strange. That's going to be Doctor Doom. We could see some cheeky sort of teams set up with this thing. It just depends on how powerful it is. 10% is kind of low. Then when you couple that with a 25% heal for Strange and a 50% heal for Doom, it starts to add up. You also have her being fire damage, and she's going to apply burn and paralysis on her 2nd skill, silence, burn, and stun. On her 3rd skill, stun, incapacitation. She also gets a frenzy buff of 60%. They're liking this 60%. And then 10% crit rate, so it might be a little bit difficult to cap her crit rate. She also gets damage immunity for 6 seconds and invincibility for 5 seconds on her 3rd and 4th skill respectively. And she does get some paralysis in there as well. Okay, she has it on her 2nd skill as well, along with burn, stun, and silence and incapacitation. She may be hitting for all days of ABX. That's kind of what I was seeing from her in the live stream. It sort of seemed like her skills were really focused for that game mode, and it looks to be the case. She may be like a poor man's sort of option for that speed blast superhero female content that she can apply for. Let's go ahead and move right along. We got Dr. Voodoo, and I must say I am kind of disappointed. The one thing that I wanted them to change with Dr. Voodoo, they still have her, but they did change it, looks like. So it's when attacking enemy with poison effect applied. So you still have to apply the effect, right? They need to change this to when the skill is used, not when the skill is applied. So hopefully it's a mistranslation sort of thing. We're gonna have to wait and see, because this is a big heal to be missing out on a whopping 20%. It could make all the difference. They also changed his leadership to increase all debuff effects by 40%. They really need to switch this thing over to all buff effects by 40%, and then you'd have yourself something. And then you got to increase all basic attacks by 30%. So that's actually pretty good. He has a chance to become immune to fire damage, 50-45 skill damage, bonus damage, tier 2 passive. And we already talked about the 4-star passive. I just hope they got it right. He also gets a decrease all basic attacks by 30%. So he lowers your attack, basically a reverse buff for his defense. So we're gonna have to wait and see how that thing goes. It is on a 9-second cooldown and it only applies for 3 seconds. So I don't know how useful it's gonna be. He also gets poison, stun, snare, burn, silence, 100% damage immunity for 5 seconds. He also gets the mind control, 5 seconds, increased basic damage received by 20%. He also gets some incapacitation, invincibility on the 4th skill, with a frenzy buff of 40% for attack and defense and 25% for critical rate. And then on the 5th skill, he gets another 25% heal with 0.8 damage accumulation, and that's when attacking. So skill cooldowns seem like they could be proc friendly. We're gonna have to kind of wait and see. Then with all the poison damage, maybe a CTP or Judgment will work for him. It just depends. Poison really isn't one of them things that do a whole lot of damage in game. So maybe it changes with Dr. Voodoo, maybe not. Well, like I said, have to wait and see. We also got to have Doctor Strange tier 4 skill. So he is getting the tier 4 advancement. He gets to increase all basic attacks by 50%. and then energy attack. So just basically an attack buff. So that brings him up to 270% attack. So when he pops this thing, I mean, it's like, what else, right? But I guess with his artifacts, like, what else can you really give Doctor Strange as well? It'd have been nice if he'd have got like some decreased damage received or something like that in there, just to make him a little more tanky. That would have been a little bit different. It also would have helped him for PvP. We also have the tier 3 advancement for Sister Grimm. She's gonna get some burn, freeze, paralysis, some ignore target dodge rate by 80%. Really looking like they're setting her up for a poor man's ABX, maybe a poor man's Luna Snow kind of option. I know there would be better options, but to cap it tier 3, right? Because tier 4 is still a kind of a very costly, time-consuming, expensive process. In terms of just time and grinding materials and that sort of thing. We also have Sister Grimm and her tier 3 skill, and the animation on it looks absolutely dope. It also looks pretty short. Hopefully it hits really, really hard. Mother Storm deals burn, freeze, paralysis. It has some ignore target dodge rate of 80% for 10 seconds, 80% chance to penetrate for 10 seconds, and it penetrates everything, with some damage accumulation in there as well. And let me just double check. So her damage accumulation is on her tier 3. Never really been a fan of that. I believe Storm's damage accumulation, it either is like that or was. So we'll wait and see what that's all about. You may just wind up being a minor support type character. We'll have to see. Then we got the Dr. Voodoo Man-Thing. Potential awaken and transcendence, and so we get cursed staff that applies stun, silence, panic, paralysis, critical rate buff, critical damage buff, ignore target dodge, invincibility, remove all debuffs. So basic standard stuff, aside from the panic being added. So that's actually dope. And then we got cursed swamp for my guy Man-Thing. Now, unfortunately, we're not getting Man-Thing as World Boss as well, or a Giant Boss Raid, which is what I was kind of wanting. But, you know, we are getting him for free. So that's also a dope thing as well. So I got kind of halfway there, right? And then we got some changes to other game modes as far as rewards, like Alliance Tournament, which definitely needed it. And the skill itself, this is the one that I was looking at in the promotional video, and the thing looks absolutely dope, where we get the kind of ghostly looking Man-Thing back in the background. Another kind of unique awaken skill. I've been waiting to see something like this for a minute now. All of the other ones just look generic outside of maybe Beta Ray Bill's awaken skill, or the Sinister Six awaken skill. You know, those are really unique. The rest of them, it may be one or two there that I'm missing, but not so much, right?
Oh, you poor dear. Ready for the end? My pretty!
So love to see that sort of stuff. And then we already went over the Midnight Suns Sinister Six X-Force collection. I hope they add on this thing. Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments below. I know this was a long one to get through, but I absolutely appreciate you guys for sticking around if you did. And make sure y'all push that like, comment, share, subscribe, notification bell, all that jazz. And we'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.